Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 484. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Richard Bailey Jr.
What's up, everybody?
All right, people, you already know. Thank you for joining us on a Monday night. Little bit unusual, but, we're glad you guys are here. Probably no Brian action because it is a Monday. And Brett, I don't know. I was texting him before. It seemed like he was going to be on, but, who knows? But it is a weird day, so I get it, Also, before we start the show, and this is probably going to be one of the longer shows, because we got a lot of questions. I will say that filming this on a Monday makes me realize why we do these on a weekend instead, because a bunch of news dropped today, boy, but it was like, we can't get to these questions because all this Microsoft stuff, although I'm pretty sure if the Microsoft Xbox stuff didn't happen, we would have answered the questions, but that'll be for the Thursday show. So we're going to be talking about, the new people running Sony Computer Entertainment, all the craziness happening at Square Enix, and who knows what else? Assassin's Creed, Shadow. All this shit happened today. One day. It's crazy.
Layoffs.
Yeah. Drunken Guardian. No, man, I made the announcement last week, man, that we're going to do this shit on Monday, Manny and I went to go see Blind Guardian last night. We had a blast, so had to do this show now, All right, man, let's get into it because we got a lot of fucking questions. And all of them are about Xbox. So let's get into it, man. And I took off the power limiters on this episode. So everybody, people have it as like 4 or 5 questions. Sometimes we're getting them all in, man. All right. So this was a question that we got not only from, I'm still going to call you Jay Shep. I know you're the Red Death now. You're motherfucking Jay Shep. Oh, Brett just showed up. Let's fucking go.
What's up, guys?
Perfect timing. Perfect. We're literally about to get to the first question,
Cool. I'm going to be picking up a little bit. I apologize to some of you guys. I did not have as much time to do the reading as I wanted to. I've been in the emergency room all day. I'm fine.
Okay. That's
it just took up my whole fucking day.
That's how it usually is in the ER, man. You're there the whole day,
Yeah, I mean, I hope okay, bud.
Yeah, man.
Turns out it's just peptic ulcer. That's all it is. So
Jesus. All right, man. So get into it. Yeah. First question here from the Red Death, aka Jay Shep. Oh, and Mob Hits also asked this question, and we also have a similar question later on. But
his name?
His new name is the Red Death, but it's Jay Shep.
What? I dig the name.
Yeah, it's cool. He also had a different name before this, like Bushido something. Stop changing your name, man. I know it's you. I know it's you. All right, first question. Will Phil Spencer be head of Xbox by this time next year? Very to the point, thing there. I don't know, man. I mean, this guy's been there for like over 10 years. And remember, I said this on the last show that 7 years ago, I made a video questioning whether he should still be the head of Xbox, and he's still there,
It's not a question of whether or not he should be. The reason I so clearly think no is bro, Microsoft is not doing well. Like they owe somebody some answers. Somebody's head's got to roll. Does it really matter if they're the problem or not? Like they're just going to fire the most, public-facing, obvious scapegoat, and that's fucking Phil Spencer.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately the buck stops with him, and things have not been going so well with the Xbox division as we saw last week.
That could also be whoever his handler is at Microsoft. There's a good amount of stuff that shows that the higher ups at Microsoft are kind of starting to fuck with it a little bit, which you can't blame them. They made a $7 billion acquisition. They want to see returns, and most likely you don't do that kind of thing without a little bit of oversight from upstairs. But whoever his handler isn't doing a great job either.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the person he directly answers to Satya Nadella, aka the guy who runs all of Microsoft? I think that's who he is, his direct guy.
He really directly he directs directly to the head of Microsoft.
I believe so.
I did not know that.
I believe he does. Yeah, I mean, like if I'm wrong about that, please let me know. But I believe his direct boss is Satya Nadella, and I'm sure Satya is not fucking happy. You know.
So where the fuck is all this supposed oversight from Microsoft coming in from?
Microsoft is like overseeing Xbox harder, but Xbox was in the beginning at least was kind of left to its own devices. Now apparently, Microsoft itself, the higher ups of Microsoft are like, looking down on Xbox like, okay,
that's what I'm saying. Who are these higher ups at Microsoft? Like, because I'd heard the same thing.
Yeah, it would be Satya Nadella, those guys,
Okay.
Go ahead, Carlos. Correct me if I'm wrong about this.
So take this with a grain of salt because it's Wikipedia, and this is from September of 2017. It says Spencer was promoted to senior leadership team, gaining a title of executive vice president of gaming, and that has since increased from that time, and reporting directly to CEO Satya Nadella.
There you go. Yeah. So his handler is the guy who runs Microsoft. So yeah, I don't know, man. I think I honestly, this is just Tony conspiracy theory. I honestly believe Phil Spencer has kept his job for this long just because he's a nice guy. I think people just like him, but like the buck has to stop somewhere, man. The Xbox division is just stalled. It's not doing well, and everybody has to answer. Go ahead, man.
I feel like this year would be the most telling because this is going to be the first year where Microsoft is going to release a Call of Duty game under Microsoft.
Yeah.
So I feel like if somehow Call of Duty is a huge success, I think that's all that'll be will show him to stay with his position.
Yeah.
So I feel like if Call of Duty somehow doesn't go backwards and maybe goes slightly forwards, in terms of just revenue, sales, and all that, all those metrics, then I feel like he'll still be around for another year.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. You're right. If Call of Duty does very, very well, we'll see, right? That could save his ass, or that could prolong the inevitable,
But let's say for example they put Call of Duty on Game Pass, right?
Yeah.
Instead of the just sell it everywhere.
Yeah.
Including the Microsoft Store. Obviously, they're going to sell it for PlayStation. They're going to sell it for PC and all that jazz. But let's say that they do Game Pass on Xbox, and let's say the scenario means it doesn't sell well on Xbox, and they don't like the revenue. The revenue goes down from the last Call of Duty. Then that's where I would see the potential of him getting fired. Even that's by the new year or January of next year before the fiscal year ends.
Yeah. They need to boot the booty. That's funny, Blitz. But yeah, what about the rest of you guys? Do you think Phil Spencer's going to have his job this time next year?
Yeah. I think he's just going to say, wait until next Xbox Showcase 2025.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll give him an extension, All right, man.
Yeah,
go ahead, man.
I would say the odd for me the odds are more in favor of him staying than him being out. But it's like a 60-40 kind of thing, maybe even closer to 55-45.
I kind of agree with that.
Okay. Let me ask, not being contradictory, but it's like, what are you guys like basing some of this on? Like, is this actually based on his performance, or is this like based on the optics?
Xbox performance and optics, and also the idiom of you keep doing the same thing, you're gonna keep getting the same results. I
mean, everybody's doing the same. Like, my problem with this whole thing is like, okay, I'm gonna straight up throw it out here. So like, I'm gonna get around like any of this idea of bias of like, Phil Spencer is kind of rapidly proving himself to be incompetent, or he seems that way.
Yeah.
Right. Like the only thing about it is like what do you judge it by? Because like if you're doing it by like, hey, well, let's compare how he's doing to other people like who are like unless you're Nintendo, like killing it making games of like a 9-year outdated system or whatever, then like who are you going to compare him to? Like who's doing a good job at what he's doing? who's going to be a replacement that seems like he's gonna do a better job? Like, I think the optics look terrible, but like, who's winning right now? Period.
Well, the whole thing with I feel like saying if is someone going to do better than Phil if the replacement comes in, I don't feel like that's a conversation anyone can have because we have no clue.
Yeah, we don't know who would be likely to take over for him. We don't know.
But what I will say is, Phil's been in this position for 10 years and ongoing. Sorry, and the life cycle, the lifespan of a CEO or chairman or president of a gaming division is for especially these types of Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo is not that long. And even Jim Ryan, and this is my theory, I even said this back then when Jim Ryan decided to quote unquote retire. I don't think it's a retirement. I think they told him, hey, we want someone new.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly believe that, even though obviously I have no evidence, so I can't really say that I'm confirming it. But that's what I believe, that Jim Ryan was told, hey, you know what? Leave with dignity. We want to get someone new. And then we obviously have the news of who's going to replace him. It's two people. Phil Spencer, it's more of the same. And Phil has not delivered in his over 10 years. This is 2.5 presidential terms. He's been the head of Xbox. And eventually, more likely than not, they need to replace him. Whether the replacement is better than him or not, whether the replacement is another Jim Ryan, which is bad, or Don Matrick, which is bad, or Phil Harrison, which is bad. It's possible. It's very possible. We've seen a lot of incompetent people. But, also what Tony said, doing the same thing over and expecting new results, you get to the point where you start realizing that things aren't going as well as you thought they were, because Nadella gave the go ahead to, he's like, Phil, you want the 100 million to get Ninja Theory? Okay, here you go. You want the 7 billion to get Bethesda and ZeniMax? Here you go. You want the 70 billion for Activision Blizzard? Here you go. At some point, he's got to be like, yo, we're not doing as well. We might be profitable, but we're not doing as well as, we foresaw with you, with your vision.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, real quick here for Blitz. In the last 10 years, what has Phil Spencer done to improve Xbox position in gaming? Console sales are going backwards. Subscriptions are stagnating. Profits are down if you don't account for Activision Blizzard. Yeah.
Okay, but see, here's my only problem. Like, I don't disagree with that, but I feel like focusing on the wrong part isn't doing us all any favors. This is, aside from Nintendo, this is kind of an industry-wide thing, man. Like, console sales are slipping.
Yeah, but no,
games are slipping across industry. Like, I don't think this is a Microsoft thing. I think this is an industry problem.
But Sony's still doing here's the thing. Obviously, Sony's being affected by it too. PS5 sales are finally slowing down. Games aren't selling as much, but they're still doing financially better than Xbox.
Of course they are. One person is going to win, but as the entire industry, like I don't think that we shouldn't have the talk about why Microsoft is fucking up. I think we actually definitely do need to have that talk. But I think laying all of this downward trend solely at the feet of Microsoft is it's reductive and kind of problematic in the long run. I don't mean problematic in the PC sense. I mean the sense of like it's going to give us false results, right? Like,
yeah, but again, but we're talking about Microsoft, though. You know what I'm saying, Brett? So that's why we are talking about it, because it is that out of all of them, even out of Sony, they're the ones that always have the worst news out of all of them.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying here is like, yes, I think Microsoft is fucking up. I think it is an industry-wide problem. I am leaning towards what a lot of people are kind of thinking, like AAA gaming is the problem here. That's my opinion, and I think that Microsoft doesn't have a solution to that. In fact, their solution to that is so antiquated, it's just bad, right? Like they do not understand that instead of putting $500 million into like a single fucking Starfield, that they need to take the shotgun approach, put $20 million in a lot of different pockets and see what pops up. But they don't see that. And while that's an industry problem, if Microsoft doesn't solve it, they're going to die. Microsoft is going to be the first one to be poisoned by this well. But it doesn't mean the well isn't poisoned, but it is definitely their problem first. At least that's how I feel about it. Like, we can't keep on, like, we can't have Microsoft trying to get this big budget AAA. Like, they can't reach for another Starfield. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. And if it does, it's not going to fucking fix things. Right? Like we talked about, you have to get 3 of these things. Like, if we're going to have to develop 3, if they don't have anything in the basket, like, it's 3 AAA half-decade development games and hundreds of millions of dollars a piece. Like, I don't know if they have the runway for that shit.
Yeah. I mean, the whole AAA thing, that's a fucking problem plaguing everybody. So I don't agree with you. Okay. I say AAA is a problem, not the problem. It is a problem for sure, though. But the problem, here's the thing. When it all comes down to it, right? Okay. To answer Bliss's question, what has Microsoft done to change gaming in some way? Xbox Game Pass as a concept is good. It's a good deal. Let's just be honest. The problem is, why do people, let me just say, why would a guy like me want Xbox Game Pass? For the promise that I'm going to get big games, at least 3 of them, 3 big exclusives every single year. That hasn't happened, right? And the reason let me finish. And the reason I don't subscribe to Xbox Game Pass is the same reason I don't subscribe to the higher tiers of PlayStation, because I'm not trying to pay a subscription to play old games. I want brand new blockbuster games, at least 3 of them a year. Microsoft's not giving me a shit. I don't give a fuck about Halo. I don't give a fuck about Forza, Well,
let me ask you, Tony. Well, like, what about Helldivers? Like, Helldivers is a AA game.
Yeah.
Fucking Baldur's Gate is a AA game. Like, yeah. I know how you feel about AA high budget games. But is that really still persisting in the game where we're in this day and age where we're getting games like that, of that caliber, that aren't technically AAA games?
If Microsoft delivered more of those every year, that'd be a good thing, man. But they don't, I mean, you know what I'm saying, Brett? Like, if you had, I know Baldur's Gate is an outlier, but if you had games like Baldur's Gate, like Helldivers, on Xbox Game Pass consistently, that would be a good thing, because then you wouldn't need 3 like big games to save your division. You have like, oh shit, they just released like 10 of these dope ass games this year. Cool. But you don't even have that. It all comes down to games. Microsoft lacks games that are compelling. And that's the key, because they do have games. They're just not the big groundbreakers. I know we have Sea of Thieves that eventually came up, Grounded eventually came up, but like the big Zeitgeist games, the fucking Sony and Nintendo run that shit. They're the ones that have the big games that everyone's talking about all the time.
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Nintendo has that shit. Sony hasn't been delivered in a few years. I don't count Spider-Man 2. Fact,
I know you don't, but it does count. The Last of Us. I know you know how I feel about The Last of Us. That shit counts too.
When did The Last of Us 2 come out?
2020, and thanks to Sony just prolonging the shit, re-releasing it
4 years ago. 4 years ago. I said the last couple years. What did they put out in the last couple years?
Yeah, Spider-Man, and that does count. I know you don't care, but that does count.
I just said, other than Spider-Man,
God of War, Horizon.
Oh shit, they did do another Horizon.
Yeah. God of War as well. Ratchet and Clank. Yeah. So they've been, like I said, even though, and if I know
Ratchet and Clank was in the last couple of years. I thought that shit was at launch.
No, that wasn't launched. That was last 3 years. But yeah, it's like
Miles Morales was a launch title.
That was a launch game. Yeah, that was a launch game.
Like, but again, what have they done in the last 2 years?
Yeah, that was Horizon and Spider-Man basically, and God of War. I guess actually God of War, and because Horizon is a little bit further back. God of War and Spider-Man.
So 2 sequels off previous. I mean, like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Move the goalposts. You said 2 games, man. Come on now.
I'm giving it to them. I'm not saying like those are 2 games. Like that's. I don't think that I think Nintendo's doing a lot more, and I think
of course when it comes to first party IPs, nobody fucking touches Nintendo. That's just a fact. That is just a fact.
Yeah, but anyway, what I was gonna say is like I agree with you for the most. The only thing I disagree with you is like Game Pass, and I only bring this up because like I think I'm the other type of customer, right? Like I don't need to make a huge value on Game Pass, right? Like if I play, and I do, but I don't need to. Like if I pay like let's say I pay $70 for a AAA game, right? And I buy one every 5 months, right? And I get 30 games from Game Pass, but only one every 5 months is really the kind of game that I'm looking for. Am I still making that same value? Yeah, the way I view it, I do. And like my biggest thing is the gamble. The gamble is the thing that disappears. And like, I think that is indicative of a problem. And it doesn't have to be solved by Game Pass. We could be solved by like just bringing back really lengthy demos again. But this idea that we fucking just watch literal propaganda that people shove in our face after 5 years and then like starving us out of any other content. And then we're just like, I don't know. I assume it's going to be. I assume it's going to be good. You know, after tax, here's almost $100. Like that just seems like a weird. Like I don't think that's a healthy place for the game industry to be, and I don't think it can exist there. I don't think $70 as a price point for a gamble for something that you don't know if you're going to like is feasible. And I think that's also part of why we're seeing the problem here. I think that's part of why we're seeing game sales slow down. So for me, the thing that makes Game Pass is I can just try shit until I find I like it. And to me, that is the biggest thing. And I think we need to introduce this back into video games because shit's too fucking expensive, especially with groceries the way they are. Like, of course, the entire gaming industry isn't fucking mobilizing. Everybody's fucking broken. That shit is more expensive than ever.
Yeah. Real quick shout out to Dirty Definitely for all the subs he just gifted people. Shout out to you, man. Good stuff. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next question. We got a lot of questions tonight, all about Microsoft. This question, does anyone on the panel who rooted for Microsoft to acquire Activision Blizzard now have regrets? Brett, I feel this question is directly at you, man.
No.
Because out of all of us, it was you and Adam that were like the most kind of gung-ho about it. The rest of us were like indifferent, you know?
No. I mean, I laughed and said, no, I don't have any regrets. That place was a fucking dumpster fire. You could literally close it down and it would still be worth more like that than it was as it was. All it was doing was ruining childhood and groping women.
Shit. All right, so you definitely don't. That's an interesting take. No one's talking about that. It's like that because everybody's seeing, and rightfully so, they're seeing it from like, Microsoft acquired these studios, now they're closing them down. But you're coming at it from, it's like, hey, they saved some of these other studios and shit.
I mean, kind of, but even more like Activision Blizzard is, I'll be honest, one of my most fucking hated companies. I am convinced that they are pretty much rotten to the core. Not just in terms of wanting to fuck you and firing key talent and trying to bend over backwards to be litigious and, just pretty much deceitful in any way possible. They also are, provably guilty of sexual harassment suits, like, in the innumerable amounts. Like, they create a toxic work environment. They create a toxic environment for gamers. They create toxic bullshit products. Like, I don't really see, other than, like, I don't play Call of Duty, so that's where that, like, Call of Duty aside, I think that pretty much everything Activision Blizzard touches turns to garbage. And I was really, really trying to let them go with Diablo, but they don't even play their own fucking games. The people making their games don't even play their own fucking games. That studio just needs burned to the ground. Doesn't even need run out of business. Just burn it the fuck down. There's zero good there.
Yeah, J Shep.
That's my opinion. So when you're like, hey, are they better off now? Like, I mean, they exist. So, I don't know.
Yeah, J Shep is asking. By the way, J Shep, shout out to you. He's in the chat. He's asking you, Brett, what if Microsoft starts closing Activision studios down? Will it still be okay?
I mean, I don't want anybody to lose their job. None of this is okay. The studios they've been closing down aren't okay. But, like, are you going to come and defend the people at Activision Blizzard who were doing all, like, think about all the bullshit. Like, think about, don't you guys have phones? Those guys, are you coming to defend those guys? For reals? Like, those guys are the biggest douches on the planet. They have been fucking over and just ruining our fucking industry for the better part of a decade. And even the people who love Call of Duty constantly complain about how it's going downhill. Like, I genuinely got to ask, like, are you willing to go on the record and be like, yeah, these are my guys? Or is this just a brand thing?
Yeah, I'll let him answer that. Blitz goes, could these studios that are now being shut down have been better off not being acquired, possibly shutting down and meeting the staff forge their own path over being promised stability by Microsoft, only to be shut down anyway? I don't know. It's a good question, man. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, a lot of times the way these things go, it's like, Activision, for a lot of it, is built on a bunch of studios that have been acquired, right? And a lot of times when you're an independent studio and somebody comes over to you with a big old check, how could you say no? But you see what happens each time once the water gets too hot. All the guys that that made all the games that you enjoyed all end up leaving and then making their own studio, right?
Yeah.
All the guys who made Mass Effect, those guys aren't really there. All the guys that made, that's EA. That's EA, right? But all the companies that made those games that you would enjoy from the past, are those even the companies that you remember? Are they the same people that came up with those ideas? Money bet, most of those people that made those games that you enjoyed are all gone.
Brett, was that that's Thesis a ship, right? Is that what it's called? See if Brett gets on. You know what I'm talking about. It's like if you remove enough of a ship.
Yeah, the ship of Theseus.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's like if you were just making sure I got my legend right there. Yeah, because I always associate Thesis with horses, not boats. But yeah, if you remove enough of a company, is it the same company anymore?
A lot of times it isn't, and you see stuff like that. I hate to use a EA game, but Mass Effect Andromeda. The reason why Mass Effect Andromeda is the way it is and is in the state it was is because all the people that made the Mass Effect that you enjoyed all left. And what had happened? Well, they got one guy back to finish off the game, and he left immediately after that. Same thing that's going on with the Halo franchise. Halo isn't anything that people have wanted. And then they got the guy to come back to from previous, who did the previous Halo games, to do some stuff on there, but it really wasn't it. And I feel like that's the situation with a lot of these sort of studios after they've been acquired and then gutted. Then the big guys, again, the guys that you who made those games that you enjoy move on. So are they any better? I don't mean. Here's the thing: you still you make these decisions not only because obviously because the money's good, but also you want to save the people that kind of work there. Like if you decide, okay, I want to at least make sure that these people have somewhere to go to, So I feel it, and you see it again, like time and time again. Tango Gameworks, you saw the same thing. Shinji Mikami left literally maybe months before the studio closed, because he probably saw what was going on with Microsoft and saw what the sentiment is to his studio was, by what's his face, right? So he just said, I'm out. Anybody wants to stay, and I'm sure he didn't say anything to anybody. I'm sure anybody wants to stay. Obviously, you can stick around, but you can come also. I'm leaving. You can come with me too.
Yeah. So. Brett, here's another one for you. Are you saying that Activision's old leadership is worse than Microsoft? I don't think that's true. They're both scum. That's what J-Shep says. I don't know if Brett's around right now.
When it comes to Microsoft, it's like
a
lot of times they'll choose and this is what we sort of feared when they got their hands on some of those things. They'll choose the popular choice, and that's the one thing that's sort of stagnated their franchises. The fact that they weren't continuing to throw things at the wall to see what sticks. In other words, obviously they have their superstars with Halo and Gears of War, but that's only two out of how many things that they decided to discontinue. There's Cameo, there's Blinks the Cat, there's a bunch of titles when they were really more ambitious in trying to get you guys to play their consoles. Phantom Dust, all these different games that are out there that have existed that all obviously didn't hit the mega numbers, but they were still things that could still went on some sort of potential, and I feel like that's one thing that I think that Microsoft does not really go for it. They're looking for, especially with a big company like that, they're looking to for surefire hits, and they're always going to probably choose the surefire hit over the wacky rhythm based beat 'em up game, right?
Yeah. So Brett, go ahead, man.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot to unpack in this. I mean, first of all, I'll say, like, yes, I do think Activision is worse. Like, both are incompetent, but like, Activision Blizzard has been incredibly predatory, at points, pushing like some of this loot box bullshit, like some of the shit that they did in Warcraft, not cool, and like even above that, like above the shitty industry behavior and above the predatory business practices. And I'm not trying to white knight here, but fucking come on, man. They were like harassing and bullying women. Like, that's just a shitty thing to do. Especially like in mass, like you heard, like there's a lot of politics that can go into that kind of thing, but like there's enough people that came forward that you're like, oh, okay, come on, like this seems wildly suspicious and has been proven in multiple instances. So like it's
to add to Brett, it's like, Blizzard used to be the darling of the industry, right? The people loved the games that they had made, and then you look at the state of them after they have essentially merged or whatever with Activision. They literally lost all those things that people really enjoyed about them. And yeah, Brett brought up the situation where I was like, oh, don't you have cell phones? You have other situations where, Adam will tell you they fucked up how much they fucked up Diablo, stuff like that. Or like they time and time again, because they're making these decisions because they're trying to squeeze people for money as opposed to just making some really damn good games. They literally remade World of Warcraft, Warcraft, right? Did one of the most anticipated remakes of all time, not all time, but anticipated 8 remakes. And what happened? What did they do with it? They fucked it up so badly they buried it.
Well, they only made Heroes of the Storm after they failed to steal it from a fan creator.
Yeah, exactly. So
they only made their own game when they were forced to.
Activision is definitely most guilty of being one of the asshole companies of there along the lines of like EA. So are they any better at Microsoft? I don't know.
Microsoft is incompetent. There's a difference.
I feel like,
By the way, J Shep says Xbox got fined for predatory practices against minors. They're just as scummy.
I mean, aren't they getting looped into anything that's on their platform though, or is this something that they brought into effect? Like, I totally agree that they probably got fined. And like, that we do need to properly have a discussion at some point about like
the what wasn't the predatory thing because of their monetization, not their moderation.
I'm not sure.
I thought
but I'm pretty sure if we dig deep into any company,
I think it was something to do with their moderation. And
I think we're going down a weird rabbit hole. So
no, because the question was like, is Xbox as bad as Blizzard Activision? And I'm like, I have to implicitly say like, no, like I don't think by any metric they're as bad unless you're talking like pure incompetence. And I understand and I can respect disliking somebody for being fucking stupid. I totally get that. But like, I don't know, like I feel like we have to keep reality in our rearview mirror when we're talking about this stuff, and like it's really easy to get wrapped up into they're the worst thing they're the worst thing since Hitler. Like, come on, like really, it's.
I feel like that situation is just like, are they any better? I do agree with Brett on this. I feel like they're a lot better off with Microsoft on the fact that even if Microsoft decides to get out of console gaming, there's still those key things will still be around. There will still be a Call of Duty. There will still be a World of Warcraft. There will still be all those things that'll be there. They just won't be doing the weird, some of the weirder shit. But even at one point, Activision really all they really did have was World of Warcraft and was Call of Duty, right? What happened? Remember all those Marvel games that Activision used to make at the back in the day? All those things were gone. Marvel Ultimate Alliance, the X-Men, the X-Men Origin Wolverine game, which ended up being better than it should have. All the Spider-Man games, they stopped making those games at some point.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Move on because again we got a lot of questions. All right. Next one here, also from Mr. J. Shep. Will hardcore Xbox fans go back to nothing to see here after the Xbox Summer Showcase? No, they're gonna say wait till next showcase.
Yeah,
They're replacing wait till next E3 with wait till next showcase. That's what's going to happen.
We've been doing this go around with Microsoft stuff for like, what is it? That's been like 20 years now, right?
Not Throwdown.
Not Throwdown, but I mean like with them saying wait till E3 stuff, right? We've been hearing this for
over a decade, yeah.
For at least over a decade, the same old thing. Ever since the whole, what's this, the Don Matrix stuff, and like again, like I guess pretty much like anytime, pretty much Don Matrix going into Phil Spencer, we've been hearing the sort of wait till this, we're going to show you. Like there is, and we've said this before on the show. It's like, yeah, and you guys have been saying it, the same sentiments. Like, how long do we have to wait until you actually sort of show something? You officially at this point in time, at this juncture, Microsoft has all the awesome cards. They literally have an awesome hand waiting to be pushed out. But for some reason, for whatever reason, whoever's holding the cards just keeps on throwing down the wrong hand.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I think it's going to be wait till next summer showcase.
It's going to be what is waiting in the wings that we don't know of? I'm like, I don't believe that there's anything that's that amazing. I think they blew their load with Starfield. I think they had already something really nice and really good and like something anticipated waiting in the wings. But I don't think any of with the exception of Hellblade, I don't think Hellblade 2. I severely don't think that they don't have anything that's worth, really worth like coming out, gonna get people excited and then to jump on the Game Pass. I really don't.
Yeah. If there is anything they can put out that's going to get people really excited and jump on Game Pass.
In order for that to happen, is they really need to have like a bunch of them like in the line. Like,
I mean, I agree with
bunch of bangers, but again, like I don't know, like in other words, it's like, do you like with us? Just like think about something like Netflix, right? There, which is the more successful of the streaming services. They always make sure that they have something in there that's something that you would sort of talk about, right? And then there's those things that you catch you off guard. So those the big talkers, Stranger Things, that's your blockbuster, right? You have, your movies with Chris, like the sequels that Chris Hemsworth has been making, which has done pretty well. Then you have idiotic, what's his face, with Rebel Moon, right? You have like these three things that are like three high profile, like quite a bit of high profile things that'll get people to subscribe. And then you have your little things. I wouldn't say anime is a little thing, but then you have Delicious in Dungeon, right? Which is something that was, seen, people know about it, but I think once people finally saw what it was, then people started getting interested in it. Then you have like Devilman Crybaby, you have other things that were like, like not big, super big things, but things that keep people, a certain audience in there. And I feel like Microsoft officially does not have anything that hits any of those spots. And when they do, it's like Hi-Fi Rush is not something to sit your platform on.
Well, and then especially not if you're going to fire them afterwards.
Yeah, now you're not going to you need a few, just for the sake of conversation, you need a few Hi-Fi Rushes to sit around each other. To sit around, and then you have that like one or two big things to sort of like, okay, boom, we got you in. Okay, now we got you in. Play some Hi-Fi Rush. Oh, now we got you in. We got to play some other crazy title that we got going on. Like that's how it works. But officially, again, with them holding all the cards, what's the hand? Because they keep throwing down like really shitty hands down. They keep asking. They keep. What is it when you ask for a new card? What is it?
Hit me.
Yeah, they keep going hit. They keep saying hit me.
You're at 33.
Looking for an even better hand, but they keep fucking up.
Yeah.
All right. One of the things that's one of the things that's unfortunate about the whole Game Pass thing is the whole Game Pass formula is, I mean, ideally, Brett's scenario is the ideal one where it's like this back catalog should be enough to entice me to pay for the subscription because I got all these games to play. But I feel like to get the attention of the normie audience is the new thing, and then the new thing that's going to get me engaged. Yeah. And like for Netflix, I don't think at least not anymore. I think back in the day it was the case, but now it's not much. It's not as much. I got all of these old ass shows that are just there for me to watch. Like that back when it started, it was enticing because we weren't familiar with streaming. But now
there wasn't a lot of content, right? Like you bringing back a bunch of shows that like, hey, look, we got Friends, or hey, look, we got you can watch every single episode of The Office or the Star Trek: The Next Generation, where people were sort of hungry to be able to watch that over again and not have to deal with the whole rigmarole of watching everything with commercials, right? But
yeah, and it wasn't as accessible back then either, like it is today.
So let me ask you: do you guys think that do you think there is a saving Microsoft this late in this generation?
No.
That's a weird one because I almost, as weird as it sounds, I almost feel like they need to just rebrand. Like just throw all the Xbox shit out the door. No more. Right? Like what they've been saying, it's more Microsoft games, and I feel like it kind of has to do that. Like I think get rid of the name Game Pass, rebrand every single bit of it, so that it just doesn't have any of that stink anymore. And then if you want to keep your Xbox around, it's just like you see it exactly like the their window, their tablets, right? That their tablet is not, it's not called Windows tablet. What's it called?
Surface tablet.
Yeah, you have Surface. So Surface still is within the ecosystem of Windows and Microsoft, but I think that's what an Xbox will be. It's like, okay, hey, you want your TV unit? Boom, it's right there. It's the Xbox. But everything else is not is all out the window.
See,
I feel like the whole thing with Xbox and Game Pass and all that, the whole shenanigans is it's in theory, and Brett, you've alluded to this a lot of times where you're saying, we got a factory full of a whole bunch of sub factories that have a lot of IPs that people care about, and they have Activision that has Overwatch and Call of Duty, and I think that's it. Candy Crush, but that's a mobile game. And then they have Bethesda that has the Fallout series, they have the Elder Scrolls series, they have I guess now they have Starfield, and they also
can I just say real quick before we move on, how fucking stupid to not coincide this series with a fucking launch of a Fallout game. Thank you.
Yeah,
go on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point.
Great question.
Yeah, that's
great question.
Like, why didn't they have a Fallout game within the works when they knew good and damn well that they had this show in the works?
It's not only that, they baffled the show too. It's a good show, and they released it all at once, so no one's talking about it a week after it came out.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, man. Go ahead, Rich.
Well, that's not entirely true, Carlos, because you just mentioned, both you and Brett mentioned the show, so we are at least acknowledging that it exists. But you're right.
Wait,
100% correct.
Rich, are you saying that they did this bad a job as like a mimetic kind of promotional stunt? Because that's brilliant, and I don't think it's true.
It's funny.
Well, hey, maybe. I don't know.
Going back real quick to the point. Microsoft, like I mentioned, in theory, they have all of these studios. They have Turn 10, they have Playground Games, they have 343, the Coalition. They have a bunch of Ninja Theory and all these studios. The issue is all of these studios are spending 4 to 5 years plus to make video games.
Yeah.
And we are in this perpetual waiting state of waiting for games from the studios that make games that we love. And the issue here is we have a studio like Ninja Theory that before it was acquired by Microsoft was releasing game after game after game. And then they get acquired by Microsoft. They released Bleeding Edge. It was a shambles of a game, but that wasn't Microsoft's fault. But now they're releasing Hellblade. But that Hellblade 2 is a AA game with a AAA polish, and that's taking forever to release. It's going to come out this week or in 2 weeks. But,
by the way, you just advertised this game more than Microsoft has.
Oh man.
Nobody knows this fucking game's coming out. Microsoft's not telling you. You know, it's insane.
Well, I've been looking forward to this game. I didn't know it was coming out in 2 weeks.
Yeah. See? Yeah, exactly, Brett. I've been looking forward to it. I forget. You know, it's upsetting, man. Anyway, I'll move on to the next question. We got a bunch. Actually, Rich, say something, and then we'll move on to the next question.
Real fast. I just want to say, to answer that question about the showcase, I do believe that a majority of people will leave that showcase and will be convinced that, well, hey, there's still a lot of stuff coming, because the thing is,
wait till
they
next
advertise.
showcase.
Well, that, but they also advertise, like Carlos mentioned. It was very clear when they said this is the showcase that will feature games from Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, Xbox Game Studios, and our partners. I did see earlier today there was some rumblings that another Doom is supposedly in the works. We all have heard the rumors about Gear 6, so I'm pretty sure you're going to see some stuff there. But these games, they are nowhere near. They ain't coming out no time soon, because like Carlos said, it takes 4 to 5 years to release a game.
It's crazy.
And before we move on real quick, can I just throw out there, like, you know, like it's not a monolith. So like I would say this, like, y'all consider me an Xbox fan, right?
That's what they do in the chat, yeah.
All right, cool. What do y'all think I'm going to say about this? Because I'm sure as shit not going to be like, oh, they're going to have something next year. Oh, the next showcase. I've been saying the same shit. They got 5 years. I'm pretty sure this is year 5, isn't it?
It depends on which timeline.
Yeah, exactly. Technically, it's been 10 years, you know?
No. 5 years since they started the big acquisition. When did they start their big acquisitions?
2021, wasn't it? Or
well, yeah, but Bethesda was. I mean,
yeah, because that
Ninja 3
was 2021.
that.
Yeah,
Rare was before that.
Yeah, but that was way
because
before
like
that.
I'm of the mind that 5 years after you acquire a studio, they better fucking have something. And you started acquiring studios about 5 years ago. I don't think Bethesda was 5 years ago. That one's coming up.
That's going to be the first one, yeah.
They got shit the bed up with Starfield. But I, as an Xbox fan, am not going to be saying wait till next year. I'm going to be saying, like, I'm expecting results now. Like, and each time I don't fucking see results, it makes me more skeptical.
Yeah.
So, but here's the other thing. Like, yes, like, where the fuck am I going to go? What the fuck am I going to do? Like, I again feel like it's an industry-wide thing. We're not going to be doing game consoles off of exclusives. I mean, like, in another 10 years, we're going to have one exclusive per console generation. And at that point, just buy your console for third-party game.
By the way, Brett, is this true? Jay Shep says that since 2020, he's never seen you walk away disappointed from an Xbox showcase.
Since 2020?
Yeah.
I don't know about that, because I don't think I've walked away particularly impressed from an Xbox showcase, and I've walked in expecting very little. So, like, maybe in a way that's a true statement, but it's not like I've been like, fuck yeah, let's do this Xbox. Like, not really putting out a lot. Waiting for Hellblade still. I was really hoping Starfield, because like I had never seen Bethesda make a miss, but there's a first time for everything. So like I wouldn't say I've been particularly disappointed, but that's because I don't really go in fucking expecting much. So I don't know. That's kind of a sad statement.
Yeah, Blitz. It was 2000. Looked it up right now. Microsoft acquired Bethesda in March 9th, 2021. I remember that day because, I woke up and I was still, freelancing. Woke up, check my phone, as usual, check my phone first thing. And I see, a message from, Paris and Danny, like, oh shit, you see this? And then I went to,
they got Ninja Theory before that, didn't they?
Huh?
They got Ninja Theory before that, and they got a couple others before that.
Yeah, but that was the mega one. I was like, this is a fucking megaton. And I remember I went to go do I went to the park, because there was still fucking COVID with that nonsense. And I went to the park and I did a Tony's Take, on that shit.
Yeah. I mean, so like, here's the way that my math works. Like, we know games these years take about 5 years to make. It seems almost a weird, very even industry standard. So when Microsoft acquired things, they should have had things in the works already. So 3 years later, I'm starting, like, this is the year, and honestly, this is the year where I'm actually, I want to say I want to be expecting things because the math adds up.
Yep.
Am I expecting things? No, because I've been kind of disappointed, and I'm not raising my fucking hopes for anything in this fucking industry anymore. And as we've talked about before, I will trust Microsoft in hindsight, not in foresight. But that has been established. And no matter what grace you guys think I give the company, I'm not just going to blindly hand them my fucking money. I know better.
Yeah. All right. I want to move on. Next question here. Another one from Mr. J. Shep. Multiple reports cite an internal struggle between Microsoft and Xbox leadership. If Microsoft has now indeed taken over Xbox, will Microsoft be better at gaming than Xbox? And as you know, some guys that have worked at Xbox, they did an interview with Brian McCaffrey, and they feel that they need to just rebrand it as Microsoft Gaming because they don't feel it's no longer Xbox. It's no longer the Xbox they helped found. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be any better at it. I think the Microsoft executives, the guys who run the enterprise stuff and Windows and Azure and all that stuff, they're way too cutthroat. And what I foresee happening is, I don't know if Phil Spencer will make it another year. Like, I didn't answer that part, but I think they are going to rebrand because think about it, when I looked at their financial reports, the word Xbox doesn't come up in Microsoft's financial reports. They don't refer to it internally as Xbox. They just look at it as gaming. That's what it's labeled as, right? So they could call whatever they want. I think Manu is right. They'll probably lose the stink because of all the stuff that's happening. They'll probably rebrand it, but it'll be rebranded for a service. It'll just be it'll be like Steam for the consoles. Like, you'll just get Xbox games pushed out, all their first party stuff, their old library and all that stuff. And if you have a Series X, it'll still work. They'll still support it for a time. But Microsoft is notorious for cutting stuff that doesn't work. So while they won't cut it, they'll butcher Xbox as it exists. Like all these studios that Carlos mentioned, and even 343 and Coalition, they're not safe. I don't think they're safe next year, especially if you put Nutella and those execs in charge. If you push Phil Spencer to a Windows seat and you put those guys in charge, nobody's safe at that point.
Oh shit!
Yeah, because I feel like I guess this is either the double-edged sword of Phil Spencer is he's too attached to those properties, those IPs, and to the history of Xbox. So to Nadella, Gears of War is like, oh, it's not doing good, but to Phil is like, this is our legacy.
Yeah. So Microsoft will probably do a worse job, believe it or not. Oh, that sad state. All right, another one here. Alpha Chuck. What is the measure of success for Xbox now? We've heard nothing but engagement numbers for years due to Game Pass. Since games that don't sell well can lead to studios being shut down, what are these studios supposed to do? Xbox trained its customers to not buy games, then act surprised when customers stop buying games.
We've answered this a lot of times, and the answer we eventually always go back to is we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know anymore.
Engagement, Carlos. Engagement.
It's a new paradigm.
Yeah,
it's a new paradigm we're in, and it's hard. We don't have the old metrics anymore. It's the way of the dodo.
Yeah, because it's obviously engagement, critical praise, awards. Those don't count for anything, as we've seen in the Hi-Fi Rush. Or even Microsoft itself saying this game is a success by every measure that we have. Even that doesn't matter. Remember when they said that shit? Remember when they said that?
I mean, there has to be a formula of some sort.
There probably is. I just wish I knew. Again, literally, Xbox said, Hi-Fi Rush has been an astounding success by all our measures, and they still killed the fucking studio.
I think they didn't want to do what he was doing next. Hi-Fi Rush was a pretty wide departure, and it was probably going back to Evil Within, but I still hate that fucking decision. I hate it with a burning passion of 1,000 suns.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man. And then Brett, literally the next day after that, they go, we need more games like Hi-Fi Rush. Hey, you had a game like Hi-Fi Rush. It was called Hi-Fi Rush.
Honestly, fucking that studio should fucking sue them for that comment.
Yeah.
Like, you do not get to use our fucking name in your advertisement when you fucking canceled our contract. Now, I guarantee there's some legalese in there that doesn't fucking stop it, but that is an immensely scummy move.
Yeah.
Like, that is fucking, that they did real dirty. And like, for the life of me, I can't figure out, like, what are you, fucking stupid? Like, this is the one game that that came out of your studios that people are like, this is actually really good, kind of intuitive, fun game. Like, I realize it did put shit on the map, but like, that studio never was going to. Evil Within wasn't putting things on the map. And if you didn't want Evil Within, you should have bought the fucking studio. That's their main claim to fame. So like, I don't know what you actually wanted from them here. I imagine that there has to be some sort of thing, whether or not it's a good algorithm or fucking, equation that they use to determine this stuff. Because like, Netflix has to decide on like what it's going to renew. Like, they can't just rely on like calling in a crone to read the bones, right? Like, they have to do something. And I'm not saying it's better than the crone and the bones, but like, there's got to be a rule in place or something. Like, it can't just be because this junior executive said, man, fuck it. And then now that I say it, maybe it is that. I don't fucking like, but you got to think that when you're directing millions and millions of dollars in funding, there's got to be some sort of rhyme or reason, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been surprised by less, man. In fact, the older I get, the more I realize that people that are higher up are just fucking incompetent. They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Well, oh, no, I agree with that. That's why I'm like, maybe it's like you take the first letter of the game, multiply that towards Y, or by Y, and if it's divisible of 3, the game's going to be a hit. Like, it could just be fucking witchcraft or superstition. I'm not saying the equation is a good one. I'm just saying, like, it's got to be a consistent thing, right? Like, not just be like, Tammy said to do that one, and Bill said to do that one, but Derek said to do that one. I don't like look at Derek's face, so he can fuck right off. Like,
I don't know, man. I wish I could tell you. But yeah, Alpha Chuck, I wish we could answer the question. We've been trying to answer this question for years, and we still haven't come up with an answer. So, I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. If you have enough information, you can probably plot it. If you look at my Game Pass account, you're going to be able to see, I paid for 1 month of Game Pass. What did I spend that month doing? What did I put the most engagement into? What caused me to log into the Xbox more to see more of their advertisements? Like, if you have enough information, you can figure out what I've been doing. And you could be like, okay, well, there's a lot of people who got on here only to play Power World. And Power World is the only thing they played all month. So, that did pretty well. Like, Hi-Fi Rush did good. Was it the only game anybody was playing? No, it wasn't. In fact, most people I knew played it for a few hours, went, that's cool, and put it down, never finishing it. That's how the vast majority of people approached Hi-Fi Rush. And if you're sitting there looking at those metrics, I can see why they may be like, look, everybody's saying it's a good thing, everybody loves it. Like 10% of people made it past 30%, and like then they went back to playing all their other games. So like, this really isn't like as much good vibes as good word of mouth is getting us. Maybe they're not getting that much engagement off of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Brett, I got to read this. Just Aaron Greenberg said this, and here's the funny thing. I looked it up. He said this in a response to our boy Jess Corden. This is what he says: Hi-Fi Rush was a breakout hit for us and our players in all key measurements and expectations. We couldn't be happier with what the team at Tango Gameworks delivered with this surprise release. That was a year before they shut down the studio.
All key measurements and expectations. Wow, you really dug your own grave on that. What? Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, I don't even know. It was a great game. I wish it got more engagement. I wish I had seen more people playing it. It sold well on Steam. I never saw anybody playing it on Steam. It feels like one of those like Crypt of the Necrodancer kind of games. Where like a lot of people
is that tweet still up?
Yeah,
what's that?
I'm looking at the live tweet. This isn't a screen cap. This is a live tweet. I'll link it. I'll link it in our Twitter chat. It's live. Yeah, it's still there. Yeah. It's not a screen cap.
I remember from when it first came out, because I was like, oh, I guess this game is a success.
Yeah,
good.
That's crazy. They praised it that universally. Like, you tell me it didn't have like one thing it didn't match up for, like, that just makes no, like, to me that's the scariest thing, because to me what that says is there are different camps inside of Microsoft who are not, the right hand does not know what the left hand is doing.
Oh, yeah.
And that is probably the single worst thing that you could say about a company like Microsoft. Like, it's bad to be incompetent. It's worse to be so incompetent you don't even know what you're doing. Like, that is dangerous. Like, that is particularly damning.
Yeah, and also remember, to your point, that I think it was Matt Booty, right? He named 4 of the studios that were closed. He misnamed 2 of the studios.
Yeah, it's.
I'm telling you, man.
I just don't know. Like, I don't know how they got to this bad. Like, it's clearly somebody just went hands off the wheel at some point, and I don't think it was Don Matrick. Like, I don't know who the fuck it was, but there's something very, very wrong over there, and they're not in the, like, they can't fucking coast. They don't have the established fan base to just phone it in for a couple of years.
Like Sony has this generation. Sony has been coasting this whole generation, but since they got the name recognition, they've been fine. They've been coasting. They have.
I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
I've been saying that's why the PlayStation community hates me, because I called it truth.
I think every console community hates all of us. So that is fair.
True. Yeah, fair enough. All right, next question here for Mr. Alpha Chuck. Are you surprised at the lack of Hellblade 2 marketing? It releases next week, yet I've seen 0 promotional material. Before anyone says it's a AA game, please name me a single first-party exclusive launching for Xbox this year that is more high-profile with a confirmed date, not speculated. Even if Xbox surprises everyone with a great game during the June showcase, there is no excuse not to market Hellblade now. I 100% agree. That game should have started marketing last fucking month. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah.
I just want to make a comment. I saw that this started off as a question of why isn't Xbox marketing Hellblade 2? Well, I know what the answer to that is. Because they are too busy marketing a Xbox controller that has a fiery design the same week that people are getting fired.
Oh, yeah. That was.
So there you go.
What was that advertising? Feel the burn?
Yeah.
How tone deaf do you get? Brett, did you catch that one by any chance? Did you see that shit?
No.
Okay, so literally the day where they closed the studios, they announced a new Xbox controller that said, feel the burn.
Oh. See, yeah, there's
Microsoft.
a crisis of management. There's a crisis of management. It has to be going on Microsoft.
Well, there's a crisis of communications.
Yeah.
That's a thing. You would think you would tell your marketing department, not a good time to post this up.
Yeah, they changed it later that day, but after people were like, yo, what the fuck? You just laid off 4 studios and you're pulling out this shit?
Yeah, because they're being reactionary. They're not even knowing what they're doing until somebody points it out. Like, somebody should already be working for Microsoft, and they should be pointing it out before it hits the public.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck, guys?
Something else, man. All right, another one here. Actually, moving on, Mr. Tumeke Blitz, who's been joining us all night. As much as people have praised Xbox for having a front man like Phil Spencer, given the past week's events and many examples of Phil and company lying or contradicting themselves, do we all now agree that maybe Sony and Nintendo are right to keep the suits behind the camera and away from the fans? Kishak also asked the same question.
Are you saying Jim Ryan lied less?
No, he's saying that.
Yeah.
Understand? He's saying that he shouldn't have been so forward facing. Jim Ryan never sat down, went on Twitter and talked to fans directly and shit like that. Understand?
I thought like Jim Ryan was very forward. No, what they need to do is bring back Sony's fake CEO, Kevin Butler. Bring back Kevin Butler.
Well, yeah, but that would also be that's an actor. So So
An actor
you're
would be
saying he's
better.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Than putting out actual execs in the limelight. Look at Nintendo Directs. He's right. Doug Bowser never does a direct. I've never seen him do one.
Yeah. Blitz
barely
goes to the
talks.
question's not about Jim Ryan. But it kind of is though. Because you're saying is Nintendo and Sony, is it better that they kept their guys behind the scenes? So it kind of is about Jim Ryan.
I guess what I was saying is I don't agree that they kept their guys behind the scenes. But in the spirit of question, yeah, I absolutely agree. They should be kept behind the scenes. I think Nintendo does the best job. The weird thing is, y'all know we're not huge fans of Nintendo, but we praise them probably more than any other console manufacturer ever.
Because what Nintendo does right, they do very well, man. Motherfuckers put out games. They put out consoles people want. The executives don't fucking interact with the fans or start up nonsense. They're good on that end,
Well, they also don't do mass layoffs and shut down studios.
Yeah, they also don't do that either. Out of the big three, Nintendo, you don't hear Nintendo reporting about any fucking layoffs because I have to go off on a little rant right here because one of the things that's been bugging the shit out of me is how stupid a lot of these game companies and tech companies, to be fair, but we're talking about gaming, how stupid these gaming companies have been. Where when the COVID surge happened, they just thought the good times were going to roll forever, so they started going on a hiring spree, spending all this money, and then when things naturally drop back down to normal, and even worse, a mini little recession we're having, then they started laying everybody off, right? Who didn't that happen to? Didn't happen to Nintendo. They were like, okay, we're getting a surge, cool, but they didn't start going crazy, hiring a bunch of people, doing all this other stuff. They kept the pace, and Capcom too, same deal. You don't hear about Capcom's been up for 7 years in a row. They didn't decide to go crazy with all the extra money they were making. So I know what I'm saying right now will be forgotten by some people in the Discord. I'm giving you shit right now. I know you guys are gonna forget this because I'm praising Nintendo. You're only gonna care when I shit on Nintendo, but Nintendo did an excellent job of not fucking firing people. And even going back further, remember when Nintendo was doing bad and shit? Fucking oh my god, Chris, Iwata took a pay cut.
Yep.
Come on, you got to give them props. You would never see Sony or fucking Microsoft do that. And yes, I understand that Sony is a Japanese company too, but they operate a lot like a Western one, So shout out to Nintendo for that. You don't hear any of this bullshit happening to Nintendo, And Blitz, to your point, yes, I think here's the thing. I appreciate the spirit of reaching out to the fans, being more forward-facing. You got Larry Herb out there, inviting fans to bars and shit back in the early days, like Adam used to go to and stuff like that. That's cool, but we saw the kind of fans they courted in the end, and that was not a good look. Then he started distancing themselves from those freaking crazy idiots,
Here's the thing, I think the one thing about it was just the way they sort of treated it was like a grassroots sort of thing. Okay, so we have these two soulless sort of companies. Okay, we got actually people that you can go to, right? Yeah. And even Sony did it
for a while. Yeah.
It wasn't until to be honest, it was therefore the fact that they were a little bit more communicative with the community is that part of the reason why maybe on when they went from being just having that hubris and essentially going toward the community again, that possibly brought them up and allowed PlayStation 3 to pull out of the downward spiral, and the same thing with the 4 and obviously the 5 just living off of those legacy. So I think there's a little bit of a column A and a column B.
Yeah.
You give enough to where people don't feel like you're not listening, but you don't give too much, right? And I feel like that's the big difference here,
Yeah.
Mandy,
to your point, I'm not really, because I do think Microsoft, I like the spirit of what they were trying to do. It just didn't work out in the end.
It doesn't work
in the beginning,
out.
It was good.
It doesn't work out when your messaging is not the same. When the big company and your actual fucking your division are saying two fucking different things.
Yes.
And this has always been an issue between
Microsoft, right? Because Phil Spencer will say one thing, he'll say one thing in an interview, say one thing to fans directly on Twitter, and then the company decides, no, we're going to do this instead.
Yeah,
you know,
they'll pivot in a totally different direction than what you see, and then you can even see it, and it seems like that is what this situation is, right? It's like he's saying one thing, and then all of a sudden the company is stepping in and doing other things. So, I don't know. I mean, the only really way to get, like obviously, he wants the faith and everything, between the company and the people, but you can't have both. Somewhere you have to sort of cut the line.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening here. We're seeing a bit of a struggle between it. Yeah. But yeah, to be honest, I don't think it's just because of the whole, like, oh, they were more open to people. That was just the way they got through, right? That's the way they cut through a lot of the things. Like, okay, Nintendo is the foreign Japanese company. Sony is also the foreign Japanese company. Let's try something different. And it's just the same technique, and this is the same technique that went into getting the Dreamcast more popular here in the States. What's his face do when he went to when he started doing Dreamcast? He started to be more open. He started to in other words, Peter Moore. So they used Peter Moore's technique off of what he did on the Dreamcast here in the States, and parlayed that into the Xbox, into the Xbox. In fact, he was part of Xbox, wasn't he, at one point? Right?
Yeah, he was Peter Moore.
With the tattoo on his shoulder, that's not there. But yeah, so I think again, the little column A, little column B, you do have to be communicative with the people, and then you also, the thing is that, and a lot of what's happening here is like, again, Phil's saying things, and then things are not happening or are coming out differently than what he says, and that goes against all consumer faith, right? How long will people, will the Xbox, the fans that are of the Xbox be like, and we see it right now. Like, you see a lot of those guys like saying we hate Xbox, all of these diehard guys all over, Twitter saying, oh man, I'm done with Xbox, because they feel like I'm sure they feel like they're being strung along.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's what we kind of saw with, those crazy Xbox guys. They feel betrayed now.
They feel betrayed because it's like, they were believing the whole rhetoric too. Oh, wait until E3. But they've been waiting for E3, as we said, for possibly a decade.
Yeah, pretty much. Wait till next E3. It's amazing. Yeah. All right. Another one from Mr. Tumeke. During the acquisition days, many of us voiced our opinion that mega corporations like Microsoft trying to buy their way to success was bad for gaming. We were called fanboys for not being on board and told it's just because you don't like Xbox or you're just a fucking pony or whatever, even though we were also saying we didn't want Sony buying up the likes of Square. Not really a question, but just wanted to point out that many of us actually were just concerned about the direction gaming was heading, and that is frustrating to be shut down by petty labels. Turns out our concerns were well-founded. Yeah, no, I remember that, people who were opposed to the acquisition were just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? All this other shit, I think you guys were kind of vindicated in the end, so I'll give you guys, you guys were opposed to this from the jump in the Discord. So that, lots of conversations there, but me personally, I was never against you guys, I was just indifferent. And going back to the whole, do you regret anything? Obviously, this is hindsight is 2020, so it's not really fair for me to say this. But I will say, in hindsight, okay, because in my wildest dreams, I never thought that Microsoft would outright kill studios. I thought at worst they would do the rare thing. It's like, okay, you guys make avatars or whatever, or you get shuffled around, right? I never thought they would just kill studios. If that was even a lingering thought in my mind, I would have been, hey, maybe this is a bad thing. Maybe they're gonna turn out to EA. I didn't in my mind think fucking Microsoft would turn into EA, where EA does fucking kill studios. So again, I can't say, I regret anything because I didn't have all the information, but I wish I would have thought that, because then I would have been like, yo, this might not be a good thing. Microsoft may start axing studios, but I didn't have enough information at the time, so I can't wholeheartedly say it. But I am with you guys on that. For
me,
you go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah. Like again, I didn't cheer for it, but I was very indifferent. And by the end, I was so exhausted. I'm like, let this shit just happen because I'm done. You know, we got pummeled into submission, basically. You know,
to be honest, I wasn't really championing this sort of stuff, but at the same time, I saw it from the factor of, okay, now Sony doesn't need to be coasting from this, right? Now they need to really play up, start pushing themselves, because I feel like this generation has been coasting off of the last generation.
Oh yeah.
At this point in time, can you say that we have any titles for this generation that are specifically for this generation?
What game, Manny? Just to kind of fine tune what you said. What game has defined this generation so far?
There is no. Yeah. What game has really defined this generation? For PlayStation 4, you can say there's a lot. In fact, the sequel, all those sequels that we've been getting, those are all the legacy of PlayStation 4, with the exception of Returnal.
Yeah, and that hasn't been a generation-defining game.
That wasn't a generation-defining game. It was, but again, it's like you look at all the literally it's all sequels of games that you've all previously known. There was you look at the last one. It's like they ended it off with Horizon Zero Dawn, which is a new IP. It wasn't a defining one, but it was definitely a new IP. There definitely was a lot more in that generation that I feel that really said it. You got your Bloodborne from that time. You even got the Order 1886, even though it didn't do that well.
Such a great.
And you know what else you got in that generation, even though it came out this generation and is playable on current consoles? Elden Ring. If that game was only on current consoles, that would absolutely be a generation-defining game instantly. But guess what? It's a last-gen game, Yeah. And that's been a problem with this generation. Most of the best games of this generation have been last-gen games,
And that's the thing that I wanted to see that came from this acquisition. Okay, now we don't need to be playing around. Now, since Microsoft legitimately has something, they have a lot of somethings. They have a lot of things that literally go. They have their weird little company that makes ambitious little games like Media Molecule. They have their in middle A sort of company that with Hellblade. They have their big those big franchises that you've heard of in there too. So I was like, okay, now Sony doesn't need to coast. But what does Sony do? They waste their time with the Call of Duty thing because you find out within the numbers, the biggest reasoning, what scared them the most was the fact that the perception that Call of Duty would be considered an Xbox game, when for years it was considered a PlayStation game because of all the marketing that they pay for.
Yeah.
So it was petty, stupid garbage, because it's like, instead of saying, okay, now just like what they did in the PlayStation 3 era, right? When they were like, oh man, we're getting our asses trounced, by this Xbox 360 shit. They're putting out all these games. Look, the games are even looking a little bit better on their thing. What do we got to do? Okay, we got to push our first party shit. We got to push it hard. And what did they do? You got Uncharted. You got all that really good stuff that came from that era.
Yeah. Go ahead,
so
Brett.
that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Sony try instead of just. And
by the way, Manny, J-Chef just said this, and in the end, they're still coasting.
Yeah, and they're still coasting. That bugs me. You got rid of your middle A studio, which was Japan studio. You got rid of all this other stuff, and so and they're just sitting on the same old stuff. So what's coming next? We're gonna get another Horizon. We're gonna get another. Well, they're saying I don't know if they're saying another God of War, but I'm sure they're gonna say another God of War. Since they rebooted it. So
Ghost of Tsushima 2.
Ghost of Tsushima 2. Which
here we go. And I love me some Ghost of Tsushima, but it's like, come on, Sony, what the fuck are we doing, man?
Again, coasting on the legacy of the previous generation. All the goodwill that they earned, they got from that generation. and it's still coming over. What is this generation about?
Nothing. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. About to go on a fucking
one important thing one important thing, and this is going to be quick. One thing that Sony has been holding their heads up with is the fact that they can call Square Enix games like Final Fantasy as exclusive, which is not going to be the case in the future.
Yeah, which we'll talk about on Thursday. But Brett, I felt you wanted to say something.
I wanted to ask. So did I kind of get the impression that people were saying that this is why they didn't want the acquisition to happen, because this is what they knew was going to go down? No.
Bliss was just saying that he felt that people who were against it got unfairly ridiculed. That was his whole thing.
Look, I think there was a lot of heat thrown both ways. I can't speak for like on Twitter, but like, I don't even think I was ridiculing people. Like for me, like I think a lot of people are probably in the same boat as me. Is like the idea that this acquisition was going to make Microsoft a unstoppable juggernaut that was going to grind Sony into dust. Like I always found that laughable, and honestly, I find it more laughable now. Like in honesty, like I feel kind of vindicated when I was like, sure, let it go ahead. It's not going to do anything. Nobody's going to care. It's not going to fucking save Microsoft. They're not going to make Call of Duty exclusive, and it's going to do jack shit for the rest of them. And honestly, like, it seems to be almost more fucking problem than it's worth. Like, it's causing them bad PR. They're not coming out with anything good from it. Like, I'd say now Microsoft is in a worse position than before they acquired Activision. So, like, not to you, but to the people who are like, oh man, this is going to make them this just unstoppable monster of a machine. Like, nah, I don't think so. Still don't think so, though.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on here. I think we're still on. Yeah, do make his questions. With Game Pass and PS Plus only seeing 1% growth over the last year, can we finally say that subscriptions don't work? And what do you think could be the next avenue for these platform holders to try to generate revenue?
It's a weird one because it's like PlayStation Plus and Game Pass are two different animals to an extent, right? You're getting for Xbox, you're getting a lot of their first party games like day and date, and the way for PlayStation Plus. They had their idea. Well, when they reconfigured it, right? They started putting actual games on there. So now, is a subscription service not a thing? No, I think a subscription service is good when you don't have anything else that can sort of go against it. You know what I mean?
Why do people think subscription services don't work?
Because he just brought up the point. He says that they only grew by 1% over the past year.
They only grew by 1% because they.
What do you mean? So that's kind of bad, dude. That means it's stagnated.
They're at full saturation.
I was just talking, but anyway.
Manny, go ahead. I think Manny's going where I'm talking.
I think about it as it's like it's only grown 1% because there's no cornerstones to get people in. The whole point of subscription services, obviously, it's not only to just have your company on welfare and continue to keep continuing to get money, right? You have to have these cornerstone things and to suck people, to consistently suck people in. At this point in time, everybody who has a Game Pass or a PlayStation Plus account has it, and it's not going to change unless there's something that changes above that. Right. So what do we mean by that? So it means, again, having something big to get people in there. But again, like with PlayStation Plus, you're always going to get the same sort of cycle, right? You're going to get like, okay, if you have now since they have these separate tiers, they've also kind of needled into whatever good faith that they've had on their just their one version now. They made things overly complicated, and I feel like that was a problem with them. Nobody, just like everybody, pretty much everybody here. I'm sure you guys in the chat too. You haven't upgraded to the final ones, right? Everybody's still at the basic because
what?
PlayStation.
Because Yeah, everybody's at basic.
Oh,
right?
I canceled my PlayStation.
Everybody, yeah, for most part, Brett said canceled his. And to be honest, I'm gonna let mine lapse. Because I just feel like I don't play games enough to be on it. I barely play any online games. There hasn't been anything that I've been able to play. So they've been, for quite a while, PlayStation has been getting some free money from it because I haven't been really on it. And I think that's sort of what's happened now. Everybody's just left the service on the occasion that something happens that they want to get. But I don't think that unless there's something big that attracts people in there, it's not going to go up anymore. And that's part of the reason. I'm sure that's the reasoning why they decide to bump the what do they call it? Bless you, Tony. they bump the prices of them because they are not making what they projected. But the biggest one is it's like they never adjusted their projections anyways. They should have kept the prices the same.
I'll tell you this: if Nintendo decides to do a subscription service where they'll put their first party games day and date, that shit'll be successfing.
I mean, the thing about Nintendo is that it'll be successful, but I think what'll happen is exactly the same thing that what's happening with Xbox and Sony. It'll reach a saturation point where it doesn't grow anymore. Currently, they know where their bread and butter comes from. It comes from people actually specifically going out and buying games. And that's why Sony hasn't gone full in on the whole day and date thing, because they've even said it themselves. They don't want to devalue their titles, which means they don't want people to they don't want 1,000 people subscribing to their service. They want 1,000 people to be buying the actual game, no matter what form it is, as a digital file or as a store copy.
Yeah. Blitz says all this is just proving the subs don't work anymore. They are stagnating. So what do they do next?
Okay, so
go ahead, Brett.
I gotta ask, how does that prove that? Like, Netflix grew less than 3% this year. Is Netflix stagnating? Is TV streaming stagnating? I understand.
Actually, the TV streaming has stagnated.
Okay,
in fact, currently, Disney and HBO, Warner Brothers, they're essentially making a joint service so that you get both, HBO Max and Disney, because both Disney Plus and HBO Max are doing incredibly horrible. Paramount, they went so far into the whole streaming service thing that they put themselves into huge debt, and they're looking to sell themselves off to somebody else.
So we're all going back to DVDs then?
I don't know if I don't think the world is wants to go back to DVD, but I think these streaming services are going to exist. But that's where the problem is. It's like there's no going back after this. The streaming service, people are used to getting their stuff.
You can still buy DVDs. You can still buy CDs and albums.
DVDs currently are not being sold at most brick and mortar stores anymore. Best Buy,
including Best Buy.
Yeah, Best Buy has stopped it. Target has sort of, now it's just one shelf now.
You can still buy movies. You can buy
them on Amazon, and you can buy it on their websites, but they're not devoting physical store space anymore to those things anymore.
So I guess I'm saying, we can have subscriptions that don't work. We can have things that don't work. We can have even things that have slow growth. I mean, when you hit saturation, you're gonna slow growth. I don't think there's enough Xboxes out there in the wild to increase the Game Pass numbers all that much. But
yeah, and also not to mention Game Pass is not only just available on Xbox.
Yeah, but
the Game Pass subscription. If you
remember, that was a dream. They're like, how many billion devices did they say, Carlos? Like 2 or 3 billion or some shit nonsense like that. They were like, they were like, that's our goal. Like, we want to be on those 2 billion devices or something like that. That hasn't happened yet.
I don't think there's. There's not the fucking market there.
Yeah, but that's what they've been saying, Brett. I'm telling you what they've said.
No, I know, and I agree with you. I am simply stating that I don't think that streaming as an idea is dead. It replaced movies. It replaced music. It is the thing that's going to happen. Are there problems with it that need fixed? Oh, absolutely. Is this the version that's probably going to stay? I kind of doubt it, but I don't think we're going to go back to I don't think in 30 years we're going to be buying video games. Much like, I know, the same way, I don't think in 10 years we're all going to be buying our movies again. that ship has sailed.
Here's the thing, Brett. We're talking about the world of streaming. When it comes to movies, they release it in streaming services after at least most of the big budget movies do box office numbers. That's how they make the money, is through the box office. And then in the back end, they put in streaming services so people can watch, and that's where they're fine with it because they already made their money through box office. Streaming music, the artists don't make shit from Spotify or Apple Music or Tidal or any of those. They make their money off of touring, merchandise, and all that jazz. So for gaming, we gotta think, where is the other compensation coming from? That's why all these companies are doing microtransactions, games as a service, loot boxes. Now we're gonna do NFTs, or we're gonna do something similar to NFTs, but not calling it NFTs. And that's the whole issue. So if we're gonna go into this world of game streaming, where every Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Capcom, whoever decides to do their own streaming platform, then it has to come at a cost, because these companies are gonna see their revenues from selling games. It's like, oh, Mario Kart sold 70 million. Oh, GTA sold 100 million plus. How are we gonna make that money back from a streaming service? And then where the hit's gonna come.
Well, again, like you said, we may have a box office thing where games don't come to a streaming service until later. Like I said, I don't know the version that the streaming service is going to be in. It doesn't necessarily have to be Game Pass. I just don't think that, especially as money comes to life, it's, if we keep going this thing where down the road that we're going, where games are going to continue to increase in price, increase in cost to make, be released less frequently, and then just kind of be like a bigger gamble to consumers, people are just going to keep buying less games. And so we now get to the point where video gaming is making more money. Video games cost more, but people are buying overall less games. They're not buying 12, 15 games a year anymore the way that I did when I was fucking 16. They buy 4 or 5 and just play the shit out of those.
I'll tell you why.
What?
Because for most people, there's not 12 or 15 games worth of damn to buy.
That's what I mean. Yeah, so we're getting into this weird place where we're whittling down the number. This doesn't feel sustainable to me, because it's a bigger bet, it's a bigger gamble, it's a bigger payoff, but you have companies closing. I think there's a reason that we're seeing more layoffs this year than ever before, and it's because these things have gotten so big that one failed game, you're having to close down studios or fire half your staff. That's not sustainable. So I think we are. Go ahead.
There is a once in a century pandemic that exacerbated all of this process, because, like Tony mentioned earlier, all of these companies started seeing all these revenues, these huge revenues, so they start hiring, got their PPP loans, whatever the hell money they were getting from. A lot of cheap money was coming out, so they decided to hire and hire and hire, and then now we're going back to correcting, going even maybe a recession. And now it's like, oh damn, we put a lot of eggs in this basket, so we're cutting down.
So yeah, Brett, I don't feel think, like it's
yeah.
Go ahead, Carlos.
More, it's not as reflective, even though it is reflective on the current state of the gaming industry, but it's more reflective on the state of business in the U.S. Because not only the gaming industry is doing this, it's all other sectors, the technology sectors, the financial sectors. A lot of these sectors are doing the exact same thing that Microsoft and Sony and everyone but Nintendo is doing.
Well, but doesn't that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that mean that people are purchasing less and renting / streaming more in a tight economy?
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stay tuned.
Look out! Quick, get it back up! Hurry! Are we all clear? Oh, okay, we're all clear. Great. All right, hit the red button. No, not that button!
And now, Freakazoid.
I don't know what the fuck happened, so apologies for that. So yeah, I don't even know what we're talking about. Microsoft acquisitions. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to say. What I wanted to say was, before everything just shit the bed, I was going to say that Carlos, you made the point I wanted to make, where it's like, Yeah, obviously the fact that we don't have a lot of good games is a contributing factor, but it's the fact that all industries are going through this right now. Everybody's downsizing after having this massive upsurge during the COVID years, So it's like all these factors are just fucking up. And like you said, the recession and all that. I know it's not a recession officially, but people are going, hey, do I want to eat or do I want to play a video game? Motherfuckers want to eat, Anyway, let's move on. Next question from Mr. Tumeke. By the way, shout out to the chat. I hope you guys are still there. Yeah, I know this is. Isn't it appropriate that this happened? This streaming problem happened while we were answering a question about the future of streaming. Just saying, man. Very interesting how that happened. The other thing I wanted to bring up was correct me if I'm wrong here. Netflix is the only one that's actually successful of the big streamers, right? Like you guys, like you already said,
have a third of the market.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's also tentative because they in order to keep their way of working, they have to have successes.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have to. Here's the thing. I agree that the future in general is going to be streaming, right? I know some people don't like hearing that, but it's just, I think in 20 years' time, people will look back. It's like, you guys bought physical shit, but there's problems, obviously, And then my other question was, how do you measure success? Because Brett, to your point, you said there's saturation and you've hit that point where everybody has it. If everybody has it, then where do you go next? And I think that's a valid question.
It's not about exponential growth. It's about profit, though. We look at in those numbers, if they're making money, I think that's really what they care about.
Yeah.
So what I think that's the reasoning why what's his face said we need more games like Hi-Fi Rush. I think he meant
after casting a fucking studio.
I think no, it's not. I think the thing about it is that he want if the future was not streaming, we'll just say digital, because streaming is still garbage. In fact, it's also been proven that the streaming portion of Xbox is shitty compared to the way PlayStation currently works, which is pretty hilarious. Right? Anyway, so I would say that I think the reason why he said, "Oh, we need more things like Hi-Fi Rush," is that we need more sort of middle A titles that don't take a lot of money to create.
Now, I know, Brett. I know, man. I know.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying, I think that's the thing. It's even remember, they also all the people laughed at what's his face for saying something similar too, right? When it talked about AAA games, we need more, smaller games to sort of maximize the amount of games.
Yeah, Sean Layton said that,
and I think that's the reasoning. I think that the in general the length, the budget, and the length of these games need to be, not the length, but the budgets of these games need to be smaller. The scope needs to be smaller so they could put out more things to try to more chances to try to attract people with new content rather than just a bunch of old games and and then sprinkle big games in between.
Yeah. All right, man.
That's their thing.
Just real quick.
Yeah.
I do have a disagreement with Brett. Shocker.
Never.
Yeah, I agree with Brett and I disagree with Brett. I agree with Brett that the end all be all should be making a profit. That should sustain you. But this is Microsoft. They have shareholders. They want to appease their shareholders. It's not about making a profit. It's about growing and growing and growing and seeing how much more growth this thing can give you. Because if it doesn't grow, they'll kill you. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter who you are. Nadella, don't give two fucks.
You are right. I got bogged down in reason and logic, and I'm sorry.
But your reasoning is the right one. It's the one to have. But we live in a society where it's about what's next. How can you make this success an even bigger success?
Oh, and when you're talking like a company like Microsoft, how does Microsoft even reach exponential success at this fucking point? It's
$3 trillion, man. I don't.
We live in a dystopian reality, man. Like, it's just a hellscape. It's going to collapse around our ears. It's fine. It's whatever. We're fine.
Shout out to Manny's cat, you know.
Podcat.
You know.
He's still trying to understand televisions.
Yeah.
Understand them.
Point a pointer at him, you know. I saw I saw this funny cartoon, you know, on Twitter. You know how like Blofeld always had like the laser on James Bond. So the you know, he turns on the laser, the laser's about to kill Bond, and then Blofeld's cat's like, "Oh shit, look at that laser!" And he jumps. Blofeld's like, "No!" Oh man! All right, next question from Mr. Tumeki. Who will be the first to leave Xbox? Uncle Phil, Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, or Todd Flanders?
The answer is Aaron Greenberg.
Aaron Greenberg. Oh, shit.
All right, let me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me answer this question first. First and foremost, Todd Flanders isn't going anywhere because Fox will never cancel The Simpsons. Okay, let's clarify that right now. As for who was the first person to leave, yeah, I think Aaron Greenberg is a good one, even though he's not on this list. I don't know. It has to be Phil. I think it's probably going to have to be Phil because they already announced. I think it was last year when they made that restructure of Matt Booty and Sarah Bond getting promoted. So they're not going anywhere. But yeah, it's probably Phil.
Yeah, I think out of all these that you listed, I think Phil will be the first one to go. Yeah, Todd Howard ain't going nowhere. You know, he's got his room,
and he's got his hair.
You know. All right, moving on. Mob hits. Going back to the Game Pass. It seems Microsoft is starting to see that Xbox Game Pass isn't working as intended. With studios being shut down and the company offering its games to other platforms, is Microsoft purposely trying to kill Game Pass?
You're talking about Sea of Thieves and like Grounded and whatnot? Like those games offering?
Yeah, Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Pentiment, and Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush, yeah.
I mean, other than Hi-Fi Rush, I mean, I think even with Hi-Fi Rush, all those games are like, they've run most of their course and like Sea of Thieves on Game Pass, like even the people who love Sea of Thieves got burned out of Sea of Thieves, left, came back, got bored again, and then left. It's essentially a dying game that's being tossed over to Sony.
Yeah, but it sold really well on PlayStation. You know?
Yeah, most of those games, a lot of those games, with the exception of Pentiment, did they did pretty decently on there when they came over to PlayStation. I definitely do agree. Those games have sort of run their course, but I also think that talk about Sony toe dips. That was the Microsoft toe dip.
That was a toe dip. Yeah.
They could see if they can essentially make a little bit make some money off of these things that they know that they know that would be difficult to port over. Aren't all those games all Unreal games? Maybe
I have to look into
maybe
that.
Pentiment is maybe Pentiment's a Unity game, right? But Hi-Fi Rush is Unreal 4. I think Sea of Thieves is Unreal 4, and so is what's that one? Grounded. So yeah, I think all those. I think that's why they did it. It was like, okay, it's not like a huge investment to get it to work on it. We know it works on the other console, and then we use this to make a little bit of money off of these titles that obviously had a lot of engagement, but may have not made a lot of money in general. Well, then no. Sea of Thieves was a previous generation game, so they people actually had to buy that one at that point. But Grounded and
it was on Game Pass, so that's how I played it.
No, but I'm saying like when it first came out, it was just a game until they made that service, right?
I could have sworn we played it on Game Pass from the jump when it first came out. Yeah.
Including Adam, who rage quit.
Yeah, rage quit.
Then I think maybe that's the whole reasoning for it is just like they wanted to make some money off of it. It's an easy gift.
Yeah.
But again, like I think it's because they're testing the waters, and I know, and I don't testing the waters, and for the possibility of essentially being a third party. And that's the big fear that I feel a lot of the Xbox guys have with this situation. It's like, oh man, they're doing it. They're doing the testing the waters to see if they can do it.
That's why they had that big, temper tantrum on Twitter.
I mean, it's not unfounded, to be honest. But at the same time, it's like you can't tout if this thing is not making a lot of money for them. What is the eventual thing that Microsoft is going to do? They're going to pivot to something that does make money. So they may just as well pull a Warner Brothers. You know what I mean? Like what they did when they literally pulled all their started pulling off, gutting their HBO Max service and putting all of their old stuff onto other platforms. Because to be honest, getting a license for a license from licensing your content to other platforms is probably going to make them a lot more money than their actual streaming service.
Yeah. All right. Kishak, will Xbox shutting down Tango cause Japanese developers to rethink working with Xbox? All the interviews Phil and company have done keep biting them in the ass when Xbox does the opposite of what he said in interviews.
Yep. He, to be honest, I think it has always been an issue with Japanese studios, but they still got Kojima.
Yeah, they still got that Kojima game.
Doing something for them, but I don't think that whatever that is going to pan out the way they thought it was. I think it's going to be something so wacky that it's not going to make them money.
And all Kojima cares about is Microsoft hooking it up with the movie stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got me Jordan Peele? I'll do your next game.
I'll put him in my game. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, I agree. But also something else that happened today, which we will talk about on Thursday, Square Enix. They got Square Enix, we'll have to release games on there now too. So, that's something, I guess.
Yeah, that should be interesting. Yeah, it's like, remember, like the whole Tango, they were already a part of Bethesda. It wasn't like Microsoft decided we're gonna acquire this Japanese studio. They just kind of came with the package.
They were. But the thing is that, like, if you read because recently also, before all this shit came out, Shinji Mikami did an interview about why he left Tango.
Yeah,
and he said he wanted to leave a while ago, and he said that the reasoning is that one of the reasons is he doesn't want to be known as the horror guy. He wants to be able to make more games, more crazy games like Hi-Fi Rush and stuff like that. Just really sort of get out there. But I feel like he sort of got pigeonholed. And then also that company, he was more of an executive role, not really so much of a video, like a creator role. And I think he wanted to do that again. So I feel like he saw the writing on the wall when Microsoft took over and just said, you know what? I don't want to be, a part of this bigger monster that's probably not giving, which before wasn't giving me what I wanted, and now it really isn't going to give me what I want.
Yeah,
and again, like when they got acquired by when Tango got acquired by he even said that Tango GameWorks, he negotiated to keep Tango GameWorks. Because what it was going to be was going to be called the Bethesda Japan.
Interesting.
It was going to get rebranded.
Yeah.
So we fought for that.
Yeah. So this, I understand what the question's about, but I don't think it applies to most Japanese studios.
It depends, because again, like if you're a guy like Kojima, they're probably going to give him everything in the.
Yeah. No, but I mean like a Japanese studio owned by Microsoft. You understand?
Yeah, that's good. That's a weird one.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, I understand what he's going on with the question, but it's not really applicable in any other sense, because there is no studio that Microsoft owns that just happens to have another Japanese studio under it.
Yeah, and it's weird that they were they legitimately had somebody in the market, to hit that audience of the Japanese audience, and they closed that too.
Yep, they did.
They did,
like,
yeah.
And after before saying, "Oh, hey, we really want to hit the Japanese market," like what you guys said, like making Phil look like a liar when he literally goes over there and takes a bunch of photos with him and saying, "Hey, you're really important to us." That's why it leads me. That's why it leads me to believe that these cuts are being made not with Phil's consent anymore. I think they made those cuts because they weren't going to do what they certain things that they wanted them to do. So
yeah. All right. And the last 3 questions of the night, all from Mr. Jolly Yellow Nerd.
What up?
All right. He goes, Xbox just shut down a viable studio that made a solid game. Hellblade 2 releases soon, but they have made little buzz about it. There may be doubts about putting Call of Duty on Game Pass. Is this a sign that Microsoft, not gamers, not journalists, not developers, but Microsoft leadership finally realizes the Xbox division is in real trouble? I think it's a sign of they see that things aren't working as they intended, so they need to potentially shuffle things around. Remember, yes, most of this stuff is confirmed, but with the whole internal battle going on, with regard to whether they want to put Call of Duty on Game Pass, that's unconfirmed, so we can't really go with that 100%. Although if they are having those talks, that is very interesting because it's like, wait, you sold this service as every Xbox game comes here day first, but you don't want to put Call of Duty in there because you fear you may hamper its sales. That kind of goes against the whole ethos of Microsoft saying like, oh, it doesn't, hurt game sales or whatever. But so we could kind of disregard that because it's not confirmed. But yeah, I think after what happened last week, especially with the optics, I think Xbox really needs to rethink things. But as people have kind of rightly pointed out, they've been retrying a bunch of stuff every couple of years, and nothing really seems to take hold, man. I still believe the remedy for this is just games, but even then, they're going to have to get like 3 in a row, man, to get over that Xbox tax. I know people made that up as a joke, but Xbox tax is real. They've earned that suspicion from gamers after over 10 years of this shit. This all started with the Xbox One. That reveal in May, right before E3, ever since then, they've never recovered. TV, sports, all that stuff. Never recovered. And again, it's just funny. I said the same fucking thing 7 years ago in that Tony's Take. And at that time, I said, the only way Microsoft is going to be able to turn things around, Xbox is able to turn things around is with the next generation. The next generation's here. We're halfway through this generation. And now I'm repeating myself. Next generation. It's like, come on, man. Jesus. It's not a good thing, man. Throwdown. Did you see my last question about the Xbox App Store Sarah said was coming in August? I did. I'm going to save that question for the next Sunday show because I feel that's an evergreen question. And even though it is about Xbox, it's not directly about what happened last week. But yeah, we will answer that because that is interesting. Anyway, yeah, I think management has to know something's wrong. They have to know. But then again, they must have known for 10 fucking years, so I don't know, man. But this latest thing just doesn't look it doesn't look good optically. Go ahead, Rich.
I just will make a comment. So I'm pretty sure that management, I would say Phil, Sarah, and Matt Booty, behind closed doors, they all know that there are some issues. I believe what was said about the internal struggle is true. However, the perception on the outside is that it appears as though they are not self-aware of what is happening. Because again, all the stuff that happened last week with the layoffs, I haven't seen Phil Spencer. I have seen no statements released about, yes, we're sorry about what happened. Nobody has addressed that. And then that made me think to myself, last year, when they had the issue with Redfall, and Phil Spencer was already supposed to have that interview with Kinda Funny, and he was very open, very raw about what he felt about what happened because he was on the spot. I'm pretty sure his boss, they probably didn't appreciate how he treated that situation, and that's why they haven't said nothing about what's happening now with these layoffs. Because again, all this stuff that we saw last week, this is from internal meetings, internal emails, but I haven't seen not one of those individuals say anything about what happened, to wish well to the people that were affected by this. And they have a conference coming out next month. So I want to see how they address people in that conference. But But yeah, I think it's a situation like you guys said. There is a struggle, and they are not really allowed to say too much because on the outside, I'm looking at this situation. It looks like they don't really care about what happened because no one has said anything. There's been no official statement from Microsoft or nothing about the layoffs.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize that. I want to give a shout out to Logic Wins. He goes, we got HB2, Hellblade 2, Indie, and Black Ops. Those are 3 games I think might be able to squeeze in South by midnight for this year as well. Xbox has games, but we already know none of them other than Black Ops will get the marketing they deserve. I also see PlayStation games getting advertised on ESPN. Never saw a single Starfield ad. Shit. That's crazy. And remember, Logic Wins is like, he's an Xbox guy, but he's kind of getting frustrated with what's going on too, but he wants to see him win. That's crazy. All right. Another question here from Mr. Jolly Yellow Nerd. Will Xbox sell more game studios to satisfy shareholders? We heard that there are going to be more layoffs coming from Microsoft. Not official. It's just like, some reports that we've heard. But apparently there will be more layoffs. And considering what's been happening this year, I'm inclined to believe that. Again, look what happened to Square Enix. They've had a bunch of layoffs as well. Again, I remember we talked about this in January when this year started. There was a gaming analyst, and he said this year will be a bloodbath. And so far, he's proved to be correct. So we're going to see more of this. I think it's going to be the theme of this year. And we'll see if Jeff Keighley talks about it, but probably not. Thank you, man. He goes, shout out to us for answering the questions. You already know, man. Last week was a big week, man. So we understand we had to do an equally big show, even if I do got to splice the pieces together when we had that fuck up earlier, But I think it was telling that during the streaming portion of the show, the streaming part of the show got all fucked up. Very interesting to me. All right, and the last one, could Microsoft do the ultimate? Sell the Xbox division. If that happened, who could even afford to buy it? He goes, crazy talk. What if ByteDance bought Xbox and tried its hand at gaming? I don't know who ByteDance is, so forgive me for that. I don't know who
Isn't
ByteDance
that the TikTok people?
I have no fucking idea.
Oh God.
Brent.
Well, it'd be Tencent.
Shit, could they afford that? They probably could. It's just Mike. It's not Microsoft. It's just the Xbox division. Yeah. Oh God, no. Tencent.
Yeah, ByteDance is the TikTok people.
Okay.
Owners of TikTok. No, I don't think anyone can afford Xbox. No one reasonable. The only, like you mentioned, the only ones that can afford them are either the Saudi group or
Jagon.
Jagon.
Jagon can't afford them.
Well, he's at that Saudi oil money, I think. Oh God, the industry tons.
Sony definitely can't afford them.
Nope.
Neither can Nintendo, neither can most companies. This is. I mean, just think about it. Activision Blizzard sold to Microsoft for $69 billion. That's just one piece of Microsoft. It's a lot. It's a big piece, but it's just a slice
Amazon. Oh shit.
Honestly, man, I want them to just combine forces with Nintendo. I know it's never going to happen, but like their hardware with Nintendo's ability to actually release solid first party titles and an actual regular powered console that can also play third party titles, like how would anybody stand up to that?
I knew it. Blitz is no. I was about to say Blitz don't like that idea. Leave his Nintendo alone, man.
I mean, do you think Nintendo's ever going to really make good hardware by themselves?
They're not, but history has proven they don't need to make good hardware. They're fine.
I know, but I want to. I want them to so bad.
I know, man. I'm with you, and that's the reason I don't fuck with Nintendo, man. But
I just want to play third party games on Nintendo as well.
Yeah.
No, don't you guys put third party games or like Do you all already also own the other systems?
Yeah, because isn't the Switch pretty much like people's secondary system?
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be like, it'd be great if it were just one system instead of having to have two. Like, but I want to be able to play real games on my Nintendo again. I'm old enough to remember when that was a thing.
Brett, the one system to rule them all, so they should call it the Nintendo Xbox One.
Oh God. Yeah, I don't think we need that. Blitz said, "Leave Brittany alone." Oh man, good stuff. All right, man, we've reached the end of the show. A big one for y'all's, So yeah, Rich, what's going on with the coalition, man? What you got?
Yeah, so just working on a couple of different reviews. Can't really talk about any of that stuff quite yet. I definitely would encourage you all to stay tuned to the website. If you have an idea that there is certain stuff coming out, maybe some stuff that we mentioned in this podcast. So, hey, just stay tuned to the website for the future. And yeah, that's it for now. No other shows to promote quite yet, but we will have some shows to talk about soon. So stay tuned.
Nice stuff. Rich keeping secrets, man. NDA, man, you already know, I think that's going to do it for us. So make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord with the conversations. The rumors are always popping. We are also back on the YouTube. So make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres. Actually, excuse me, not premieres, when we go live. We're also on every podcast app on the planet. Throwdown Show. 2 words, Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And for everything else, make sure hit up the comments and the YouTubes and all that other stuff for the links, man. So we're out of here. So once again, our show was Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
And Richard Bailey Jr.
Have a good week, everybody.
All right, guys, we already know we're back on Thursday, man. Let's get ready. Later.
All right, peace.
Ladies.